to speak, to document, and to publicize, to remind and protect, so that it will never happen again. We have promised that we will not let the world forget. Eti Elboim, of the Leibovitz family, born in Israel, citizen of Israel. Last stop, Auschwitz. The train slowed and then ground to a halt with a deafening screech of brakes. It was Thursday morning, May 18th, 1944. Since Monday, we had been closed up in a boxcar, crowded together in darkness, filth, and hunger. Our travel companions were tears, anguish, and the terror of the unknown. Now we huddled together and waited apprehensively for the locked doors of the car to be opened. Some of us had expressed the opinion that nothing good could come of traveling in a freight train, in cars that were normally used to transport livestock from Poland to Germany. And I thought to myself that perhaps even the animals were transported in more comfortable conditions than we human beings, and that if this was the journey, then what did it say about the place we had arrived at? And even so, I had a faint hope that perhaps the situation would improve for my father, my mother, for my 5 younger brothers, for me, and the rest of the Jews who had traveled with us in the train. What more could a young girl ask for? I was 15 years and 10 months old, Suri Hershkovitz, from the village of Komyat, which had been part of Czechoslovakia when I was born there, but which had been annexed by Hungary on the eve of the war. We had entered the freight car 3 days earlier, straight from the Munkash ghetto, which itself had been hell on earth. We didn't yet know that small hells awaited us during the journey towards a larger, ongoing hell. The entrance to the boxcar had no steps. The younger ones climbed up and jumped inside on their own, and the older ones were given a helping hand by those who were already inside. When I got into the car, I was shocked to find that it was filthy and stinking from the cattle that had been transported in it before us. The floor was wet and dirty. It appeared that someone had made an attempt to wash it before we entered, but because they had rushed us in before it had time to dry, the floor immediately became covered with a sticky paste of mud and filth. The first thing we noticed was that the car had no seats. Everyone had to stand, pressed against each other. They told us not to be unruly and to behave ourselves. They explained that the car doors would be locked from the outside and would remain so until we arrived at our destination. Only there would the doors be opened because only there were the people who had the key. Where was there? We didn't know. We had no idea where we were headed. As we were getting on the train, my cousin Shoni Solomon was appointed the commander of the car. I have no idea who appointed him to the position. I only remember that he was responsible. He was 19, from the neighboring village of Bogrovich, the son of my father's sister Fega. In one corner of the car, children were crying, while in another corner, people were trying to help some elderly passengers sit down on the floor. We were all terribly hungry and tired, which only increased the suffering. Our fellow passengers included mothers who had boarded the train alone with their children. In general, most of the people in the car were women, old people, children, and youths. There were very few men because in those days most young men had been forcibly drafted into the Hungarian army. They were conscripted for hard labor, and after the German occupation they were taken prisoner. Thus, in addition to missing them, their families feared for their safety. Altogether in the rail car, we were 84 people, all terrified, strangers to each other. We were a random collection of people facing a common fate. The next thing we noticed was that there was no drinking water in the freight car. We couldn't possibly imagine how we were expected to manage without water to drink. For the first quarter